Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is taco salad with grilled chicken. You guys have seen me cook tacos every which way on this YouTube channel, but one thing we haven't done is taco salad. But if we're gonna do taco salad, we're gonna do it up right. So we're talking about thin pounded chicken breasts, marinated and cooked over direct heat, along with some fresh corn piled onto romaine lettuce dressed in honey chipotle vinaigrette. It's all gonna be contained with every accoutrement, every little bit of topping you can imagine inside of a fresh fried flour tortilla. We've got some work to do. All right, so we're starting with a couple of chicken breasts here. We want to get these trimmed just a little bit before we pound them out. And the only thing I'm really looking to do is get rid of any hard cartilage that might be left behind. Otherwise, these things look pretty clean. I'm just putting a little bit of water inside of this vacuum seal bag. You could also do this inside of a Ziploc just to help it move around so it doesn't stick and tear. And then we're going to take the flat side of our meat mallet. And we're just going to work this out until this fat end's about the same thickness as the thin end. All right, that's all kind of on the same level now, which is what we're going for. All right, so we're going to marinate these chicken breasts right here in this vacuum seal bag. Again, you can do that in a Ziploc. It doesn't have to be vacuum sealed. That just does help it go a little bit faster. And the marinade we're using today is our Sweetwater Spice Lime Jalapeno. So this is a little bit concentrated, 1 part water to 1 part of the brine bath. We're gonna do a cup of each. Yeah. This is a pineapple-based marinade, but of course it's got strong lime and jalapeno flavors coming through. Just gonna go right into the bag, and I'll go ahead and seal this up, and we'll let it sit for the next 30 minutes or so while the grill comes up to temperature and we get everything else prepared. So we've got a handful of components to put together for our taco salad. The first thing that we're gonna tackle is our honey chipotle vinaigrette. That's gonna be the dressing for our romaine lettuce. From there, we'll move on to our pico de gallo and our guacamole. All right, so this dressing is essentially gonna be 2 parts oil to 1 part vinegar, but we're splitting the oil between extra virgin olive oil, which is what we have here, doing 3 tablespoons of that, as well as 3 tablespoons of our chili infused oil. So this is that same oil that you get from Chili Crunch. So it's got chilies, onion, garlic, all infused in it. Just a little bit of heat to it, but a ton of flavor. And that's a canola oil, so it's a pretty neutral flavor otherwise. So then we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar and 1.5 tablespoons of wildflower honey. So here's where we get our chipotle flavor next. You could use chipotles in adobo, but I've got this wonderful Smoke and Ghost hot sauce from Hoff and Pepper. I'm just gonna start with 1/2 teaspoon of this. If you want a little bit more heat in it, you can do more, but we're gonna get all that smoky chipotle goodness that we need out of just that 1/2 teaspoon. We're also gonna do 1/2 teaspoon of our habanero infused sea salt. Again, if you don't want that spice level, just use a regular kosher salt. Do about 1/2 teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper. Obviously, we're just guesstimating here, but that looks good. 1/4 teaspoon of some Mexican oregano, and then finally just 1 clove of garlic. Crush it and give it a quick chop. Once we've got that in, we're gonna hit this with the immersion blender just to make this fully emulsified. You can see it almost turns kind of creamy, and it'll hold that way for quite a while. But you gotta run it through food processor, immersion blender, or just a regular blender to get it there. You could probably get it there by hand if you were doing this vigorously enough, but it's a lot more work. Oh, that's so good. The sweetness of the honey, and a little spice, smokiness of the chipotle. Yeah, that's fantastic and super easy to pull off. You can see we did that really fast. So let's move on to the pico. All right, so we're gonna start with some red onion. I want this minced pretty fine for the pico, as it's also going to go into our guacamole. I don't want big chunks of red onion in our guacamole, or in our pico for that matter. Nice balance. So we'll do 1/2 cup of red onion. Next we're gonna do a 1/2 cup of tomato, also keeping a small dice on this. All right, next we've got some jalapeno. We're gonna deviate from the traditional serrano here to go with a little bit milder chili. And I'm gonna do as much or as little of that as you want, but I'd say for what we're doing today, 2 to 4 tablespoons. And then we're gonna do some fresh cilantro, a couple tablespoons. Just finely minced down. All right, next we're gonna need about a tablespoon of lime juice. We'll do this to taste. We'll hit it with a little bit of our habanero sea salt as well. And that is our pico. Give it a good mix. We're gonna steal, about 2 tablespoons of this to throw into our guacamole, which will start our next. All right, so we're gonna start with 1 avocado here. Just gonna dice it right here before we get it into the bowl. Add to that, like I said, about maybe 2 tablespoons of our pico. Squeeze just a little bit of lemon juice on top. I like the lemon juice. I picked this up from my mom. She's always put lemon juice in guacamole, so I have a soft spot for it. And then just a touch more salt. These avocados need that salt. Give them a good mash here. This might be the most American way you've ever seen guacamole made, with a potato masher. But it's effective. Let's keep it chunky today. All right, well, before we pull our chicken out of the marinade and get it onto the grill, we're gonna dice up a head of romaine for our salad. We're not gonna need all of this today, so I'm gonna take about half of it. We'll split that in half again. These very end parts I tend to just throw away because they get just a little bit yucky. But then we can use just about all of this, all the way down to the really crispy parts at the bottom. This is one of the things I love about romaine, is that you get such a variety of textures from the bottom of that lettuce to the leafy ends. All right, so that'll get dressed with our honey chipotle vinaigrette right before we build our taco salad. All right, the chicken has had a good 30 to 45 minutes to soak in the marinade. You're gonna see evidence of that on the surface of it as we pull it out here. See how it just changes color just a little bit. That's the acidity from that pineapple especially, and the lime breaking down, tenderizing, adding flavor. We're gonna get most of this excess liquid off of here, but there's a lot of great flavor that's left behind there too. And then I'm just gonna season this up with my Cattleman's Grill Mexicano seasoning. So your favorite taco seasoning, which is Mexicano if you didn't already know. We get some good coverage. We're gonna grill these off fairly quickly, just long enough to get some good color and bring that temp up to about 155. Today we're cooking on the Yoder Smoker's YS640S pellet grill, currently running it at 450 degrees with direct heat. So we're gonna go directly onto our grill grates, right over the flame. Also gonna throw some corn on here, get a little bit of color on there. So I've preheated this to 450 degrees, but at this point I just want to leave the door open so that it can cook without trapping too much heat in there, because the chicken's pretty thin. I want to get good color on the outside before the inside gets overcooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank the temperature up to 500. That'll make sure that it just kind of constantly feeds pellets so that we're getting all the flame we need, but we don't have to trap that heat inside. All right, we got a good 5 minutes on that first side. Got some nice color developing. Gonna flip these over. Still leaving this door open. I'll roll that corner around a little bit. Starting to get some good color on it. We want to bring this chicken up to about 155 internal. We're gonna look for some of the thickest spots to try out here. We're gonna be a little bit below that on the opposite side. We go all the way through. You can see it drops. So it won't take long. We'd probably reach that 155 in the center. We just need it to heat through from the bottom up. So it only took another 2 minutes to get us up to that 155. Go ahead and pull our chicken breasts off the grill. And that corn's looking good. It's getting some nice color on it. You see these kernels look so full, they're about to burst. And right before we hit that point is actually like the perfect time to take this off. So we'll go ahead and remove this as well. But the chicken needs to rest for a few minutes before we dice it up. So that brings us to maybe the most exciting part of our cook today, which is making our fried flour tortilla bowls. Now, we're gonna be deep frying these today, which is inherently dangerous. So I'm going to, right off the bat, just tell you be very careful. Make sure you're not overfilling your pot with oil. There's all these precautions you can take. Don't do this on the grill where it can catch fire. Maybe do it on an electric stovetop. That's probably the safest. All that said, can you bake these on the grill and get a taco bowl out of them? Yeah, you can Google that. You can figure out how it's done. Will it be as delicious? Absolutely not. It just won't. So we're gonna go deep fried method today. So here's the setup. We've got a nice tall pot about halfway full of oil that's at 350 degrees. We're gonna take a big burrito-sized flour tortilla and what I've hollowed out here, a 28-ounce can of tomatoes, and place it right in the center. From here, you're gonna want some pliers, or in this case, I'm using the Kamado Joe grate tool, and we're gonna press down right in the center. So this is definitely kind of pushing it. We don't want this any more full than this. As you can see, we're getting bubbled right up to the top. Now the center, it really wants to bubble up. So what I'll do is I'm gonna put a little bit of oil in there to fry that middle part, and then I'm gonna press down with my ladle to keep it from puffing all the way up. I think this is just such a cool technique. This is something we picked up from Cowboy Kent Rollins. You guys know him from YouTube. He's a stud. If you're not watching this stuff, you should be. And it doesn't take long, just about 1 or 2 minutes. Get that nice golden brown. Drain off the excess. And then we're gonna put this on the paper towel. Again, that middle always wants to puff up, so I'll just give it a little push down so we can fit even more filling in our taco salad. All right, let's do this one more time here. Carefully and gently pushing down. It's when you first get in there that it bubbles up the most. If it's looking a little gnarly, just pull that a little bit higher until it calms down. Again, I'm gonna take just a little ladle of oil right in the center and press the middle down as well. All right, so let's get our chicken diced up so we can put these taco salads together. Well, no doubt about it, this chicken is juicy. That 155 is just the sweet spot, especially once it's fully marinated. It wants to hold on to all those juices anyway. All right, so let's get this corn off the cob and we'll be ready to build. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is dress our romaine with our honey chipotle dressing, vinaigrette. Just gonna get every bit of this coated. So now we've got kind of a sweet heat base for our romaine. We're not gonna overpower that because we've got a lot more to add to the top here. We'll start with our romaine. And we'll start piling stuff on top. So let's do a little bit of sharp cheddar here. Some black beans. grilled chicken on top. We've got our grilled corn. And then we've kind of got this trio of goodness here. We've got our guacamole, some sour cream, and our pico de gallo. We'll top it all off with a little cotija cheese for that salty, funky. And if you're a hot sauce lover like me, where did the mango man-eater for some sweet mango hot sauce on top. There it is. Time to get a bite, and there's no great way to do this without kind of breaking it down. Oh yeah. Get a little bit of everything mixed in there. Some lettuce, some chicken, some beans. Where's my pico? Eat some pico and guac on there. Here we go. You gotta love a salad you can eat with a chip. And what an incredible chip that is. Fantastic texture. Fantastic texture throughout. I mean, even with the lettuce, I mean, that cold crunch, it's coated in that fatty dressing. I mean, a straight up ripoff from Chipotle restaurant, because it's delicious. The honey, the heat, the vinegar bite, and then all your favorite Mexican condiments between the pico, the guacamole, fresh bright corn. It's all happening. Everybody showed up to the party, and it's a rager. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out allthingsbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.